The opinions and suggestions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and are not necessarily endorsed by KRMG, Cox Media Group Incorporated, or the program sponsors. This following program is sponsored by Causeway LLC. Information in this broadcast is not intended as an investment, tax, or financial advice. Matthew Moore is not a licensed investment advisor and speaks solely from his experience and opinions. All information in this broadcast is for entertainment or educational purposes only. Matthew Moore, Causeway LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa are not responsible for the success or failure of any person's investment decisions or purchases. Matthew Moore, Causeway LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa makes no and expressly disclaims all representations, warranties, and guarantees with respect to this broadcast and its sponsors. Investing in any market is inherently risky and can be financially dangerous. Invest at your own risk. Gather knowledge in the world of cryptocurrency right now on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk. Welcome to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. Matthew is locally based right here in Tulsa. Questions, comments, concerns? Call 918-460-5764 or send us an open mic using the KRMG app. Now, here's Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore.
Good Sunday evening to you. My name is Russell Mills. Thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. Although today, in all honesty and in order to keep my integrity, is Cryptocurrency without Matthew J. Moore, because he's not here. But guess what? Charlie Spears is here and Eric Cooper is here. Eric, welcome back, brother. Tell us what's up. Matt's not like, I don't know, sunning in the Bahamas or something on his riches.
You know, we always talk about Matt going on a walkabout or being up in Colorado.
He travels a lot.
He does. He's a man on the move. I think he heard the Johnny Cash, I've Been Everywhere, and he's trying to knock him out.
Love that song.
He is doing wedding duties of a best man, I believe, today in Virginia. So today, my co-host is once again Charlie Spears from Nakamotor. Charlie, what is going on, sir?
Hey, Eric. It's great to be on the show with you again. I've been promoted from guest to co-host for one episode only, but we're going to try, even though you got the B team, we're going to try to keep the wheels on the track.
So B team to the moon.
B team to the moon. Bitcoin to the moon, too. That's why we're here.
I thought Doge was going to go to the moon. Now I'm really confused.
Well, we have a different topic for today.
Okay, well, good, because that Dogecoins thing still kind of makes my head spin because it's crazy. But
it is crazy. That's where I'll leave that one there. But Charlie, you've seen some transition in your in your affiliation. So can you again kind of repeat a little bit about what you are doing nowadays?
Yeah, I'm with a company called Nakamotor. You can go to nakamotor.io, sign up for our weekly newsletter. This is a business where we put Bitcoin mining on natural gas wells. Our newsletter is targeted to the oil and gas and energy folks who are also interested in Bitcoin.
So we all met, and we've got another guest in studio today with us, and we met and hung out when we went to Miami. You've got your tickets for Miami for Bitcoin 22.
I am going to Bitcoin 2022, and it's been announced. It's in Miami. I believe it's in April. So, yeah, I'll see you there, Eric.
Yep, I got mine. So, fun fact, you're supposed to send it. You're supposed to buy and send if you wanted to buy in Bitcoin through Lightning. And so I'm driving down the road, not buying Bitcoin and driving because there's no law against that yet, but definitely doing that. And I sent it through Coinbase because I just bought a couple $100 there and knocked it out. And then I read the little disclaimer. It said, "Oh yeah, send through Lightning," and so I had to send myself an email. So, but we are all going. It's going to be pretty fun. But we're going to try to see if we can get some media credentials this time around, and maybe interview some of the big players in the space. And like I said, in segment 2, we're going to be bringing a guest that is not only lives here in Tulsa, but it's actually went with us. His name is Samskies, and he is a Strike developer, which is a product that facilitates faster and smaller transactions. And on the second layer solution known as the Lightning Network.
Yeah, we're really excited to have Sam here. This guy is pretty well known in the Bitcoin space, and I just feel very lucky that he lives in Tulsa. We'll introduce him here in the second segment, but he works for a company named Strike. And Eric, you and I got to meet the founder and CEO of Strike, Jack Mallers, down in Miami.
You're downplaying that a little bit because this was like minutes before they made that declaration that El Salvador had implemented.
Oh, yeah. Jack is one of the guys spearheading the initiative to work with the El Salvadorian government to bring Bitcoin to that country. And so he got to announce on behalf of the El Salvador government that Bitcoin would be declared legal tender. And then that is the news story, which then propagated throughout media. You and I got to crack a beer with him actually out in the parking lot beforehand. What a cool experience.
I mean, it was great because, again, it wasn't 97 degrees like it is right now outside. I mean, it was a warm day, but I just remember going, this is pretty cool because he couldn't tell us what was happening. He just kind of said, we're announcing something really big, and a lot of us had, some whispers on that one. But so you're a fan of Strike. Tell us a little bit about why you're a fan of Strike.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Strike. And again, we'll let Sam explain more in depth how it works. But it's, kind of like if you use Venmo or Cash App, you might find Strike very familiar. It's let's get a payments app. But what's different about it is that on the back end, it actually works on the Bitcoin network. So it uses Bitcoin and then the Lightning Network on top of Bitcoin to settle these transactions cheaper and faster and more finally than Venmo or Cash App or any other payments that I'm aware of do. And so I actually used Strike just yesterday. I was, again, buying beer at Welltown, and I paid my brother-in-law for 2 beers with Strike.
That's awesome. I mean, we mentioned about this, but it's funny because Strike has a cool name. I don't know if you know that one of the first pay via phone methods, tap to pay, was called ISIS. And Russell, I bet you can't guess if Verizon was quick to rename and rebrand ISIS as a tap to pay system.
Yeah, that name's sort of become attached to a certain, terrorist Islamic element that.
I think Strike will be fine for now.
Strike is a good name.
I picture Chuck Norris.
Strike says action. It says fight. It says, it does say sit down, ain't going to work today.
And so it works on top of Lightning, which is very appropriate. That's where it comes from.
Right, Lightning strikes. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I get it. So so let me catch up for a second, guys, because I don't want you to get too far ahead of me because I'm trying desperately to grasp all this. So essentially, if I've got Bitcoin and I want to buy a hot dog, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do, and it could take a while. But by utilizing services like Strike and Lightning, this allows me to make these transactions rapidly, kind of like if I was just swiping my card or using my Apple Pay.
Oh, yeah, and we'll actually talk a bit about that because that exact scenario is being done as we speak in El Salvador.
Right, so they're actually using it as a currency.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
that
as
is
a means of exchange.
Hasn't really happened yet. Am I wrong? With crypto in the United States.
We have been very, very, very bullish about using Gresham's law, and we'll touch base on that one, is hold on to all your Bitcoin and spend your fiat at this point. But more and more things are starting to happen. We saw AMC last week announce that you can, send and buy tickets via Bitcoin. Right. We're seeing ATMs. We're starting to get spam mail, actual physical mailers about crypto ATMs hitting the mailboxes. So if you've seen one of those, I don't know what the targeting is on that, but I've seen a weird collection of people getting those.
I don't know if it's going out to everyone or just me, but I ain't falling for your traps, guys. I'm just buying Bitcoin.
Right, but we're gonna soon live in a world of crypto ATMs and EV charging stations. And building that infrastructure out. That's jobs. That's
And speaking of infrastructure,
oh wow, Russell with the transition.
It's been a big week.
I'm the Segway king.
So you are a miner. We've talked about the infrastructure bill, and let's see here now. We've made it past. There's a lot of senators. Senator Ted Cruz really stood up, and the verbiage was, if we took all 100 of us in here and we had them all stand up, if anybody could give me 2 sentences explaining what a cryptocurrency is, there would not be more than 5 people who could do it. So as a miner, let me get your thoughts on the bill.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's very true. Imagine it's the late 90s and senators who don't even own computers are trying to make rules about the internet. Imagine you got to have a permit to own a computer. Think about how hard that would hamstring Silicon Valley. So that's kind of what's happening today. We're not necessarily against regulation. It's just if you don't even understand what any of these words mean, you shouldn't be adding these amendments to a must-pass infrastructure bill last minute. So what was very interesting was it looked like it was a bipartisan opposition to this amendment. And while it didn't pass, it was held up by the Alabama senator. It will be fought in the House. And I think this was a big shot across the bow in D.C. from the broader crypto asset community that we've got money, we're smart, we can lobby very well for this asset.
Oh, and by the way, good luck controlling that, government, because crypto you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I mean, it's the internet 2.0 in a way, the internet of money. How are you going to regulate the internet? It's going to be built somewhere. It's either going to be built domestically or abroad.
Now, one of the big things is that I actually got to ask Governor Stitt, face to face last week about the infrastructure bill, and he was just, pretty brief, but he said, we're going to be for jobs and innovation in Oklahoma. So say that we get ahead of ourselves and they make it to where it's not possible for you to be here in America. What's your plan?
Well, I don't have plans to move out of the country. I actually know Sam and I do speak a little Spanish, so maybe we'll go
El
down.
Salvador.
Maybe we'll go mining.
There you go.
Maybe we'll go start a mining operation in El Salvador. I mean, the El Salvador government themselves are looking very closely at geothermal energy, and so
that would be a nice fit. Really.
I mean, there was a meme. It's mining off volcanoes, so volcano-powered Bitcoin.
So Yellowstone Park could be a place to look.
Yeah.
But we want it here in Oklahoma. And again, education pieces are key. The whole point of this show is for us to break down, because when we started this, Russell, I was very much about Bitcoin as a monetary and as a currency situation and technology. But now that's just the corner of the house.
Yep. It's like the internet we were talking about earlier was originally essentially to send a chat message and maybe transfer a file.
Yeah.
And boy, it has grown, right?
And
it has gone a long ways from there.
And we're seeing with blockchain technology the ability to even reach out and give the opportunity of college degrees overseas, and with one of our past guests. So
my prediction, one of these days, you'll be voting based on a blockchain based system, because it is verifiable and you can't forge it, right? That's the whole point. You're listening to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. I'm Russell Mills. We got to take a quick time out, but we'll be right back. You're listening to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. My name is Russell Mills. Thank you so much for spending part of your Sunday with us. There is a little bit of flash rain activity out there. Be careful on the highways because they can get wet and slick in seconds. Happened to me on my way in. Don't know if you guys had a dry drive. I hope you did. I'm going to turn it over to our guest host today, Eric Cooper, sitting in for Matthew J. Moore, who is leaving on a jet plane. Don't know where he's going, but that song was written in Colorado. If he hadn't for Colorado, that would be perfect, right?
You know, that song was a little ways back, and I want to, we've dropped in a little happy anniversary, happy birthday, happy Mother's Day. Russell, did you know that today is the 50th anniversary of President Nixon taking the U.S. off the gold standard?
I did not know that, but that is huge in terms of, I don't know, the development of alternative currencies. I'll just throw that out there.
100%. And so once again, we are going to, and I believe we're going to do it on September 12th, we're going to kind of revisit episode 1. Matt and I have been talking about this, but we're going to get into, from the monetary standpoint, what is cryptocurrency trying to solve. And so once again, as the 50th anniversary, it's just great to bring up. Once again, education is one of the big reasons why we're doing what we're doing here. And so if you've enjoyed the show and you have an interest, give Matt a call. Go to mattjmore.com and you can check him out. Send him an email. He's got a best-selling book, Foundations for Liberty. The whole entire second half about that is talking about our monetary system and what the founding fathers had in mind. And, they wanted to keep everything away from the central bank, having too much control. And
they certainly didn't write it into the Constitution. We know that.
Yeah. And so, but we're learning, and you said you saw it in episode 2, but episode, what are we on, 16 now, we're getting in more into the innovation piece of it. And because the blockchain technology, it's more than money. So if you've been listening to us since episode 1 and you're thinking, man, it's money, 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 another song, right? We're the intelligence, the practical applications of blockchain are endless. And so my co-host today Charlie Spears from Nakamotor.
Hey, Eric. Glad to be here. I've been promoted for one episode only. I'm from guest, now co-host, and I get to interview our guest, Sam Samskies, who's here in the studio with us. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going?
Sam, you live in Tulsa and you work in Bitcoin. You work for the coolest, the hottest company in Bitcoin, in my opinion, Strike. Can you tell me what you do for Strike and what Strike as a company envisions?
Yeah, so I'm a front-end engineer at Strike, which means I build the user interface for the Chrome extension. That's what I'm mostly working on. We also have an iOS and Android app, but I don't work on those. I work with those engineers, but I focus mainly on the Chrome extension. And Strike itself is like what you said before. It's a payments app, just like Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all those, except instead of building our own monetary network underneath, like Cash App has their own, we utilize the Bitcoin network and the Lightning network to facilitate transactions. So that's why we're able to send transactions to El Salvador for barely nothing.
Charlie, I'm going to ask you a question. I mean, you guys clarified this in your best 15 words. Is when we're talking about first layer versus second layer versus third layer, can you give a little explanation what that means for the listener who is not quite there yet?
Yeah, Sam, can you talk about what a first layer payment or money system would be and then kind of a layer two? Maybe kind of like the dollar and the Visa network.
Yeah, so the base layer, the Bitcoin base layer is a settlement layer. It's more for like larger transactions. So Visa would be in the fiat world would be like a second layer technology because people are sending payments all over the world. And then at the end of the day, the banks want to settle those, all the transactions that were made because it can't handle like all those transactions on the base layer. Same thing with Bitcoin. If you recorded every single transaction, the blockchain would be gigantic. The blockchain is just a ledger. Just imagine like an Excel spreadsheet that not everybody, but many thousands of people all over the world keep track of. It's the source of truth of every transaction that ever happened in Bitcoin. If you recorded everything, like I'm buying 10 beers at the bar and everyone, you record those all on the blockchain, the ledger would get gigantic.
Just leave the tab open.
Yeah, leave the tab open, which is kind of what Lightning does, and then what Strike uses to do these instant, small amount transactions, right?
Yeah, so the Lightning Network's second layer. Imagine the bar tab example again. You can, we call it opening a channel, but you don't need to worry about that because we abstract all this stuff away from you. You're just sending payments, and you don't know how we're doing it. But we're sending it back and forth. None of that gets onto the Bitcoin blockchain layer when you're using Lightning.
Yeah, to me, as a Strike user, if I weren't aware, I might not even know that I'm using Lightning or Bitcoin even. I might just be like, wow, this is the cheapest payments app I've ever seen.
That's the whole purpose. We abstract it away from people so you don't have to know anything about Bitcoin. It's dollars in the app. We do have 2 wallets now in the app. I guess we'll talk about that later. But the main wallet is US dollars. We're also going to be launching in Europe. We're going to go all over the whole world. So eventually, you'll be able to send money to Europe. Right now, you can send to El Salvador.
And before we move on to the next segment, we do want to tease the Pay Me in Bitcoin thing you guys got coming out next week, right? Can you just briefly tell us what that is?
Yeah, I don't know if it's coming out next week. It's coming out soon.
Okay.
But it allows you to set up direct deposit with your employer. And then you can set up a BTC split, Bitcoin split. So if you say you want to get $1,000 of your paycheck deposited and you 50% in Bitcoin, as soon as your direct deposit hits, it will split your USD balance in the app will go up by 50% of whatever you said you wanted, whatever your paycheck was, and 50% of your Bitcoin balance would be 50% of your paycheck would be used to purchase Bitcoin, and your Bitcoin balance would go up by that much in the app.
Sam, the reason I interrupted was because I'm just wildly curious how you got involved with Strike. I mean, you say you grew up here in Tulsa, you live here in Tulsa. Did they come find you, or did you go out in the world and say, "Yo, I am a programming guru. Talk to me"?
I didn't grow up in Tulsa. I'm a newbie here. I just got here in February. Tulsa Remote brought me here. So they incentivize remote workers to move here.
I know exactly the program
They
you're
pay
talking
you
about.
$10,000
Yes.
to move here. So I don't know why everybody in the world is not signing up. Is the best deal
And
ever.
I've met several people who took advantage of that. And you know what? This is a win-win because they're drawing talent like this to Tulsa. So where were you before you came here?
I was in the Bay Area. I grew up in Hawaii, but I lived in the Bay Area for a long time.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm sorry, Charlie. Back to you, brother.
Well, and this whole taking your paycheck in Bitcoin thing, this is it's new to a lot of people, but it's not new to you because you've basically been doing this kind of thing. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I've been playing around with Bitcoin for a long time. I started as a speculator, like most people, I think. You're like, oh, the number's going up. I got to buy some. And then eventually I went down the rabbit hole and just, it was really fascinating to me, especially since I'm a developer. And just how the whole system works is really fascinating to me. So yeah, and then Lightning came out a few years ago and I started playing around with it and it just keeps getting better and better and better. It's fun and I like it.
So I will probably be taking some of my paycheck in Bitcoin in the near future. Why would a user want to consider this conceptually? Why would someone want to take their paycheck in Bitcoin?
Because of what you were talking about earlier, Gresham's law. You want to save the good money. When there's multiple types of currencies out there, you want to save the good money, or everybody eventually ends up saving the good money because it's the good money, and they spend the bad money because fiat is designed to go down because of inflation, right? Like if you just held all your money in the bank for 30 years, the purchasing power is way less now. Bitcoiners like to call it NGU technology, which means
number go up.
It means number go up technology because it's volatile, but over the long term, if you look in 4-year periods, it's always higher. So we call it number go up technology.
And numbers going up is something that does happen with alarming regularity in cryptocurrencies. Hey, by the way, if you would like to catch up, like maybe you missed some of our earlier episodes, KRMG.com is the place to go. Go to the on-demand section and just look for Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. They're all there except the super secret missing episode, which I can't tell you about. Well, I can tell you about it, but it's a long story. Maybe I'll tell you later. Meanwhile, we got to take a quick time out, do a little news thing, and you're listening to 102.3 KRMG.
We'll never know.
Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. My name is Russell Mills. Thank you so much for spending part of your Sunday evening with us. Great show this evening, even though we are Mattless. Matt is traveling. I understand he's doing wedding duties today, so congratulations to the happy couple. I hope your journeys are safe, Matthew J. Moore. Meanwhile, the entirely capable and well-informed Eric Cooper is with us, and he's brought some folks. Eric, welcome back, sir.
Hey, once again, we always appreciate this. Is I kid you not, this is one of my favorite parts of my entire week. I love coming in here on Sundays to do the show, and it's even better to do it with great people. I like the journey because when we originally wanted to start doing the show, it was, hey, Eric, be the guy who doesn't know anything. And
that's me. I play that role.
Russell, but you're not, because I guarantee that you could go disciple people right now, because once you finally kind of like start down the rabbit hole, like the knowledge base and the capability base that you can kind of dive into, you can't get away from it. And what do we call it? We use a little Matrix reference.
Oh, yeah. So when you fall down the rabbit hole, when you start becoming obsessed with Bitcoin, we call it getting orange pilled, kind of like the red and the blue pill that Morpheus might hand you. So you choose the orange pill, and it's a very, very deep rabbit hole.
So that voice is Charlie Spears from Nakamotor Partners, and he is my substitute, the co-host today. And we've been talking with Sam Samskies from Strike. And so, Charlie, I'm going to hand it over to you. Thanks for being with you. And when you found out you were going to be the co-host today, what were your thoughts?
Oh, I was overjoyed. I have big shoes to fill because you're actually filling in for Matt, and I'm filling in for you. That's the way I look at it. So.
I have big feet.
Yeah. Anyway, so we got Sam Samskies in the studio. Sam is an engineer for Strike, one of the coolest companies in Bitcoin, kind of a company that it's kind of like Venmo, but it works on top of the Bitcoin network. So, Sam, we were just talking in the previous segment about Gresham's law and Gresham's law of money. Can you review exactly what that is for maybe someone like me who might not actually know?
I think it basically states that when there's multiple currencies in circulation, the bad money drives out the good, which means that people hoard the good money, so it disappears from circulation, and they spend the bad money because that makes sense, right? So fiat money loses value because of inflation. Bitcoin goes up, has been for its existence. If you look at the 4-year period, it goes up and to the right. And I think the average is about 200% compound annual growth.
Yeah, it's just a little over 2% annual growth.
Compound
annual growth, whatever. So a lot of people say like, oh, we're not spending Bitcoin. Why, it doesn't make sense to do that. Well, not only is your company making it reasonable to spend Bitcoin, but that's also because of Gresham's law. That's why we don't see a lot of Bitcoin being spent. People want to own it and have it and spend their fiat or their dollars because that's not something they want to have in 10 years necessarily. When we talk about the actual payments side of Bitcoin and how Strike comes in on top of the Lightning Network to make that happen, we see one very interesting part of the world where this is being used more frequently, and that is El Salvador, a country that your company's been working very closely with. Can you talk about Strike's work in El Salvador and maybe the remittance aspect of it?
Yeah, so the awesome thing about Strike is you have a fiat balance, and when I want to send money to somebody in El Salvador, which I do, I don't spend my Bitcoin. I spend dollars, and Strike immediately buys it and sends it over the Lightning Network to wherever it's going to, if it's cross-border, not within United States. But when it's cross-border, right now, the only cross-border country is El Salvador. So I found the kid in El Zante. I want to learn Spanish, and once in a while, I get on a Google Meet with him, and I pay him $10 with Strike. Immediately when we're done, he has a Lightning wallet. I send either to his Lightning wallet or to his Strike. Strike is available there, so I can send it to his Strike wallet. And it's instant. The payment is instant. How else? I don't know how else I would send in money. Like, there's not an easy way. You can probably use like Western Union and stuff.
Yeah, Western Union, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to send money. And you think about the thousands, millions of people who have had to lose millions of their own hard-earned dollars.
Yeah. And long story short is I don't think that you can actually. So we were in Mexico back in March, and we get on the bus to go back to the airport, and he says, I only can take cash. He can't do anything. I couldn't send PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, or anything like that. So what am I doing? So what ends up happening? My $100 taxi ride, I gave him $20, and I told him I will mail you. Now I ended up mailing him. Sorry, baby, I never told you that. But I ended up mailing him the money. But again, Strike. So you're sending and paying him instantly for what he's doing, and you didn't have to wait 4 to 5 days for wire transfer.
Yeah, and what's interesting, this gets us into like the monetary network side of Bitcoin. So on the show, we've talked a lot about Bitcoin's a store of value. Yeah, it's like gold, but another thing that's really cool, and this is kind of where Strike comes in, is that Bitcoin is really it's a monetary settlement layer. And we're able to innovate very cool stuff on top of that. And so when you send that Strike transaction, that maybe $3 to $10 transaction is effectively final settlement. Can you talk about that, Sam?
Yeah, so on Lightning, as soon as the payment says it was successful, that payment is final. You can't reverse it the way the technology is built. And the awesome thing about being able to interoperate with all the Lightning wallets is there's tons of different Lightning wallets. So like I said, I can send the money to his Strike app. I can send them money to his Bitcoin Beach app, which is a popular Lightning wallet in El Salvador. I can send it to their new government wallet that's going to come out. Chivo, I think it's called. Any Lightning wallet. There's tons of Lightning wallets. So I'm not stuck like how I am with like PayPal. I can send PayPal to PayPal, Cash App to Cash App, Venmo to Venmo. Strike, we can send to many different wallets. And we can send to any Lightning wallet as well as any Bitcoin address. So if there's a Bitcoin QR code on the ATM, you can send it to the ATM as well if they need like cash.
And like Strike is one of many companies and many really cool innovations in the space. You and I believe a lot of us Bitcoiners here in town, Eric, we love the rewards cards side of this. We're going to switch pace a little bit and talk about the cool Bitcoin rewards ecosystem. And, because this space is so rapidly emerging and there's so much money and capital and innovation flowing into the space, we find ourselves with like debit card rewards with incredibly generous cash back.
Yep.
There is a card called the Fold app card. It's like a debit card. And Sam, you and I are huge fans of this. Can you describe the Fold card?
Yeah, the Fold card's awesome. I got the premium card, and you get to like spin a wheel every time you buy something, so they add a little fun into it, and you can win a whole Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Every time you buy something, you have the chance of winning a whole Bitcoin, and I think like 10 people have won it so far.
And my daughter actually, every single time that we use the Bitcoin, we use the Fold card. If I do not, now my son also hops in it. Daddy, can I spin? Now it's cool because we call it stack and sats, right? So you get percentage of so you can get up to 100%. I got 100% yesterday. It was
very nice.
It was on a $30 purchase, but you look at it and you're like, that's one withdrawal because 50,000 there. So
yeah, you're spending debit card, you're spending dollars on behalf of Fold card, and you're getting rewarded in Bitcoin a very generous percentage of what you spend. And you can spend, and there's a lot of cards like this. We're only talking about Fold, but you can get 6% Bitcoin back on all transactions. That is a crazy deal, and in some cases it's higher. I hit like 8 or 9% one month.
Yeah, and it's not like airline miles. Like the airline people can just decide to just devalue it anytime they want. Like now you only get this much dollars worth for this many airline points.
We've all seen the Jennifer Garner commercials, right? And the Capital One.
Yeah.
But when you get sats back, they can't devalue it. You can take your own custody as well from Fold app. They let you withdraw it to your own wallet if you want. And it can't be taken away from you.
And that's one of the cool things is we can work for various companies, but we can love a lot of the other ideologically aligned companies in the entire ecosystem because there's a lot of good people and the smartest people building on these kind of platforms.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the innovation piece of it is, again, there's a lot of people out there who they will only take a check or cash. Small businesses around here, once again, I do sales here for Cox Media Group, and we also have that situation to where we have to pay a 3% of the money of our hard-earned money. So immediately we're taking a little bit less money if someone wants to pay with a credit card. Talk about some of the innovation pieces, Sam, because there's some cool things coming up, but I've heard a lot about credit card transaction as low as like 0.01% or something just silly that could obviously take down a big area of our currency.
Yeah, so who knows what's going to happen, right? There's so much innovation happening because this is open source software. That means the code's all open. Everybody can keep building on it. So Jack Mallers likes to say that everybody at Strike could take the whole year off and the app would be better a year from now because we build on an open source network. So,
because other people would look at it and contribute and innovate on that platform.
Yeah, and since that is like our base layer that we transact on, the app would get better because the innovation it keeps getting better really rapidly because there's more and more really smart people that keep working on it. But at Strike, we are also coming out with a debit card. So look out for that. I think this year we'll probably be dropping that.
So can we get Jack to sponsor the show then once that bad boy goes? Because listen, I will definitely give my allegiance over to the Strike card because it also sounds really cool.
Strike, yeah, very cool name. We talked about that.
Yeah, you can try send him a tweet. He's active on Twitter.
Oh, we'll do that. Yeah, Jack, you can sponsor cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore.
It's pretty cool. Russell, okay, obviously you've kind of delved into this space too with us down the rabbit hole. What would you say? You were given some Bitcoin. We gave you Bitcoin. We gave you a couple of others last week.
It was, and I'd have to pull up the app to see what the other one was, because
so if you missed it, Matt actually just right here, gave Russell some Bitcoin. And Charlie, you agree with me that one of the easiest ways to get someone to adopt it is to give them $20 worth of Bitcoin and then just watch their life change.
So I've got just a few seconds here. Go ahead and roll it, Bob. I will tell you that they bought me $30 worth, split between Bitcoin and something called XRP. That was Sunday, exactly a week ago. Today, that $30 is worth $43. I am rolling in the dough, and I've done absolutely nothing except say, yes, here's my phone. Go ahead and do your thing.
Welcome to the world of crypto, man.
It's craziness, I'm telling you. But you made a good point earlier before we started the show. Don't watch your accounts go up and down, or you will die young. We're going to take a quick time out. You're listening to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore on 102.3 KRMG.
Talk about that and why I get 100% of my salary in Bitcoin.
Best theme music on KRMG. Love it. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. My name is Russell Mills. Thank you so much for spending part of your Sunday evening with us. This has been a really interesting conversation. Let's just get right to it because we're a little short on time. Bring in our substitute host today because Matt's out of town, Eric Cooper.
Hey, guys, everybody, welcome back. Today we've been talking with Sam Samskies from the Strike and Lightning Network. And so we've got a special co-host here, and that's Charlie Spears from Nakamotor. And so, Charlie, I'm just going to basically hand it over to you. But before we do, I just want to say that if you have questions, again, the space is exponentially larger than you can even imagine. Give us a call, give Matt an email. You can go to KRMG and find some contact information, or you can go to mattjnamore.com. And again, our goal is education. So, Charlie, how are you doing, and how are you feeling today?
Oh, I'm feeling absolutely great today, Eric. Glad to be on the show. And you talk about this aspect of questions and asking questions, and you want to talk to people like Matt. But if you're just trying to get your feet wet and maybe meet brush shoulders with other people in the space, that's another really good way to do it. And that's why we have monthly meetups here in Tulsa. I kind of spearhead those, but it's really a team effort. We have the Tulsa monthly Bitcoin meetup this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at Bar 473. That's this Thursday, 6:30 p.m., Bar 473 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And again, last time it was Bitcoin was down. We were talking about the fundamentals, trying to remind us, hit ourselves in the head, be like,
Hold
okay,
on for dear
focus.
life.
Yeah.
Hold on for dear life. Yeah.
We're gonna flip the narrative a bit. We're just gonna take the gloves off and go. Well, how high can Bitcoin go? We're gonna put on our astronaut suits because we're going to the moon.
Bitcoin to the moon.
Yeah. So again, that's this Thursday, 6:30 p.m., Bar 473, the Tulsa Bitcoin Meetup.
And Sam, you are obviously joining us. It's Tulsa Connect, and I want to ask you two questions. So it's a two-parter, but tell us a little bit about your journey this way. When you Tulsa Connect, and then also you've been in the community here for a little while. How do you personally feel like Tulsa is doing when it comes to our Bitcoin community?
Yeah, it's awesome. First of all, it's Tulsa Remote.
Tulsa Remote, that's right. Tulsa Connect's something different, probably.
Just in case people want to go Google it, it's tulsaremote.com. So yeah, I was lucky enough to get into the program, and the program's awesome. They pay you $10,000. You don't get it all up front unless you buy a house. I think then you get the money up front to help you with the down payment. I didn't buy a house, so they give me monthly payout. It's like a stipend. So it helps me pay the rent. They're just trying to get a lot of awesome, smart remote workers to move here.
And they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you,
I think.
they've attracted some great talent. So you came from, you said, the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yep. So I came from the Bay Area. I was actually going to take the whole year off because I was like, Tulsa's cost of living is way cheaper than what my cost of living went down by about 50%, I think, from moving from the Bay Area to here. So, and Tulsa Remote gives me like $500 a month to help with expenses. The first month I got more because to help with the relocation expenses. So I was just going to hang out. And then I saw the strike was hiring. I am very active on Twitter, and they tweeted that they were hiring a front-end developer, and that's what I do. And I love this app. So I was like, I'll try sending them my email. And I got hired, and I was like, I was going to take the whole year off anyway. So why not just take 100% of my salary in Bitcoin? So that's what I've been doing.
Wait a second. So 100% of your salary in Bitcoin?
From Strike. I use my stipend from Tulsa Remote to help with pay for my living expenses.
That's terrific.
But yeah, could you talk just briefly about, again, your thesis, why you want to convert your entire paycheck to Bitcoin?
Yeah, because like we've been talking about Gresham's law, I agree that Bitcoin's going to keep going up over the long term. So I want to save that money. I don't want to spend my whole paycheck and just buy all kinds of things that I don't need. So I save my money in Bitcoin, and I just convert my whole paycheck because I have enough fiat savings along with the Tulsa Remote stipend to get by every month.
So having lived not just a hop and a skip from Silicon Valley and having hung out in the world of high tech and developers and stuff, his other question was, how's Tulsa doing? Are we ahead of the curve? Are we with the wave? Where are we at?
Yeah, I like it a lot so far. It's really laid back. I ride those electric bikes all around.
The Lime scooters.
What was it called?
The Lime scooters.
This machine?
Oh,
No,
yeah,
this
this
machine.
Yeah.
This machine bicycles.
Oh,
I
okay.
prefer those. It's cheaper because the scooters are kind of expensive. The bicycles, you can buy a year membership. It's like $130 or something like that a year. And you get to ride the bike for free for 60 minutes a day. If you go over that, then you pay a little bit, but it's still way cheaper than the scooters.
Unless a monsoon starts, right?
Yeah. Then you got to find somewhere to hide, which happened to me on Friday, actually.
And yeah, so we have been building a Bitcoin community here in town, the Tulsa Bitcoin Monthly Meetup. And if you show up this Thursday, you'll get to see Sam probably. You'll definitely see me.
I'll be there. Yep.
Yeah.
So, guys, let's end it here. Charlie and Sam, both. How can we find you guys on Twitter, YouTube, MySpace, all the findables?
I haven't been on MySpace in years, but you can go to my Twitter profile, which is @CBSpears, like Britney Spears. And to learn more about my mining operation, you can go to nakamotor.io.
And Sam?
So best place to find me is Twitter. I'm there all day, every day. Samskies is my handle.
Samskies, like Sam Skies is how you spell that, right?
SAMSAMSKIES.
That's
all right.
awesome.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Great show. I do appreciate y'all hanging out with us. And thank you, beloved listener, for spending some time here. And we will see you here next Sunday. One more reminder that Bitcoin Meetup is Thursday at 6:30. It's at Bar 473, which is over there in the Kendall Whittier area, generally speaking. That, again, Thursday, 6:30. Be there or be square. See you next week.